Roger, the clock is operating. We're underway.
You're loud and clear.
Roger, we're programming and roll okay. A little bumpy along about here.
Roger. Stand by for 20 seconds.
Roger. We're smoothing out some now, getting out of the vibration area.
Roger, you're through max Q, flight path is...
Roger, feels good through max Q and smoothing out real fine. Cabin pressure coming down by 7, okay, flight very smooth now. Sky looking very dark outside.
All Roger, reading you loud and clear, 7, Cape is go, we're standing by for you.
Roger, Cape is go and I am go, our capsule is in good shape. Fuel 103, 102, oxygen 78,100, cabin pressure holding steady at 5.8, amps is 2.6. All systems are go, indicating 6 Gs. Roger, 0 G, and I feel fine. Capsule is turning around. Oh, that view is tremendous.
Roger, turnaround has started.
Roger, capsule turning around, and I could see the booster during turnaround just a couple of 100 yards behind me. It was beautiful.
Roger, 7, you have a go, at least 7 orbits.
Roger, understand go for at least 7 orbits. The Friendship 7 can see clear back a big cloud pattern way back across toward the Cape. We're all set. This is very comfortable at 0 G. I have nothing but very fine feeling. It just feels very normal and very good. Have very little dirt floating around in the capsule, just a little bit, and preparing to take xylos still at present time. This is Friendship 7, the head movements cause no sensations whatsoever. Feel fine, reach test, I can hit directly to any spot that I want to hit. I have no problem reaching for knobs and have adjusted to 0 G very easily, much easier than I really thought I would. I have excellent vision on the charts, no astigmatism or any malfunctions at all. I feel fine so far, over.
Roger, understand.
This is Friendship 7, have beautiful view of the African coast, both in the scope and out the window. Out the window is by far the best view. Part of the Canaries was hidden by clouds. Roger, how you doing, Gordo? We're doing real fine up here. Everything is going very well. Over.
John, you sound good.
Roger, control fuel is 90,100. Oxygen is 75,100. Amps are 22. All systems are still go, having no problems at all. Control system operating fine. Over. The only unusual thing I have noticed is a rather high, what would appear to be a haze layer, up some 7 or 8 degrees above the horizon on the night side. The stars, I can see through it as they go down toward the real horizon, but it's a very visible single band or layer pretty well up above the normal horizon. Over.
You may observe some lights down there. You want to take a check on them out to your right, over?
Roger, I'm all set to see if I can't get them in sight. Roger, I do have a lights in sight on the ground. Over.
20 seconds. 20 seconds. 10 seconds. 5 seconds. What's going on, everybody? Let me turn the music down a little bit. Welcome one and all to a little Monday evening HelloGreedo live stream. Going to be hanging out with you guys for maybe 30 minutes to an hour. I'm actually going to be putting together my office quite a bit tonight is my goal. About 30 minutes ago, I hung the first posters in my new office. I'll have to take a picture of them, I guess tonight, and post them up as the first things that I've hung in my office. One is a solar system diagram of the way the solar system was positioned, all the planets and whatnot, on the day my daughter was born. Kind of neat. And the other poster that I have in my office right now is an Apollo poster that one of my best friends in the whole wide world got me as a housewarming present. But welcome one and all. It's good to see you guys. Caleb Kemp and Cyrus Jabari, thank you guys for the first super chats and channel support of the stream. It's good to see everybody. Welcome one and all. Caleb Kemp, people often fight about which birds are the best birds, but everyone can agree seagulls are the worst. Seagulls, as a Floridian, they're kind of the pigeons of the beach, right? They're beggars. They're like chipmunks and squirrels in national parks, right? They're not afraid of humans whatsoever. And you got to blame the people. You got to blame the humans for the way these creatures act. I mean, they're going to go for the food, right? And everybody feeds these goddamn things. Seagulls, yeah, I don't know. They're not too bad. I've never had any bad encounters with a seagull. But yeah, man, it's good to see you. I appreciate that. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. And I hope you have a fun week geared ahead. But I appreciate that, Caleb. And Cyrus Jabari, happy new decade, Greedo. Yeah, it's tomorrow, right? Tuesday is the eve, and then Wednesday is the new year. Nice. Yeah, right back at you, Cyrus. With that, how do you feel about the future of Disney Star Wars? What's everybody's New Year revolution? What's everybody's resolution if you do that kind of thing? Everybody tries, right? Everybody fails, unless you're really strong-willed. There we go. But, yeah, man, right back at you. So the future of Star Wars, Disney Star Wars, Cyrus. I don't know. It's going to be interesting because I think there's going to be a solid mix, it seems, of TV and movies, right? And I kind of like the mystery of it all right now. I kind of like the fact that we don't know what's on the horizon, right? Sure, we got some TV shows hinted at. Ewan McGregor's coming back as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Cool, got it. Maybe that's 5 years from now. Who knows? But other than that, man, the movies are kind of up in the air, right? I kind of have a feeling it's going to be a pretty 50-50 split in terms of movies and TV shows like we've never seen before, which would be great. For me, as much as I really like The Mandalorian, Star Wars is always going to be a big movie-going experience for me. I don't think I will ever be as excited for a Star Wars project as I am for a new, silver screen movie experience with Star Wars. So, Cyrus, the thing that I hope they do is kind of, I don't know, start getting weird, man. I want, I want them to start going in new directions, making Star Wars movies that don't feel conventionally. Whenever, you see a Star Wars movie, people are like, well, that felt like Star Wars. Okay, what does that mean? Let's kind of gear away from that a little bit. Maybe get a little more experimental, have a little bit more fun with it, and don't feel like you need to adhere to things from the past, right? So, a lot of hopes, a lot of wishes, I guess. But yeah. Anyway, man, I appreciate that, Cyrus. And happy new decade right back at you, man. At this point, Stormtrooper helmet is Greedo's real face. There you go, Dark Jedi. Absolutely. I don't consider the Disney Star Wars movie as canon anymore. Well, that's silly. What if I said the same dumb shit about the prequels back in the day? I never said that silly stuff. The French Canadian Wolfman, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support. Just watch The Phantom Menace and call me crazy, but Jar Jar's my favorite part of the movie because he's got life and personality. Everything else bores me. That's an interesting take. I guess everybody else is kind of monotone. Yeah, Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, they're kind of a one note deal, right? I haven't watched, well, I guess next time I watch the movie, I'm going to have to keep that little thought in my head. Everything else is yeah, it's pretty monotone, right? Other than Jar Jar. You got your boss-ass big cheek shake. You got your, but everything else, I don't know. Interesting. Everything else bores me. Phantom Menace is my favorite prequel, and Wolfman, I am not shy in saying this. It is solely because of nostalgia that The Phantom Menace is my favorite prequel. It is solely because of nostalgia. I mean, to me, it does kind of, it feels grounded but it is without a doubt because of the build-up and the anticipation that I had for that movie and going to see it a few times with my family, and it's just, and all the toys that I still have. That movie came out when I was 13, and I bought some stuff, and the only reason it is my favorite prequel movie is because of nostalgia, no question about it. We all have that though, right? But yeah. Greedo just started liking Jar Jar a bit more. What's up, Tan? Good to see you, man. But yeah, Wolfman, I appreciate that. And Rebo Bricks, thank you so much, man. Just thought I would be a silent supporter just because I got nothing to say. Well, dude, thank you so much, Rebo, for the I can't speak tonight. The silent support this evening. It is much appreciated, man. Yeah, I appreciate the hell out of it, and I hope you have a good New Year's celebration for sure. But I appreciate that, Rebo Bricks. Let me take a quick sip. Do you plan on doing more Clone Wars reviews? Screaming Bear 71. Yes. Let me take a quick sip of water. So, yeah, Screaming Bear, my plan is to, Mandalorian's done. Rise of Skywalker's out. As of right now, what I'm gearing up for is finishing Clone Wars. I think I have all of Season 6 to watch, and I think that I might have a couple more episodes of Season 5 to watch as well, but my ultimate goal right now is to finish the entire rest of the episodes that I have, maybe 20 or so, make videos on each arc, and then gear up for the 7th season. So, yes. Planning on it soon. AJ Caraballo 95, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support, man. Has your opinion on the Rise of Skywalker changed at all? No, it hasn't. I've actually had some really good conversation with some of my buddies, because for Christmas and the New Year, I have a few friends in town who I get to see a few times of a year. I grew up with these guys, and we always like talking movies, and it's kind of interesting when we're all very pretty level-headed and like and dislike different and at the same time similar things, but it was kind of interesting because we unanimously kind of felt the same way. It was kind of interesting. I did not expect that, but so no, my opinion hasn't changed. I've just kind of I actually wrote a video today and I recorded audio for it. It's kind of maybe a little too negative after I listen to it, but I'm gonna put it out anyway. I'm sure a lot of people are gonna be like upset about it, but who cares? It's not like anything volatile or malicious, but it's just kind of like me being honest about what I thought about this movie, So, no, my opinion really hasn't changed yet. Maybe with subsequent viewings it will, but at the moment it just feels like a lot of the time, shallow, generic blockbuster. If you change the name of the movie and change the name of the characters and didn't have lightsabers, to me it might be a pretty forgettable fantasy science fiction movie. But yeah, we'll see what I say in a few years. after I or we'll see what I say when I get the Blu-ray and am able to watch it. But yeah. Anyway, AJ, I appreciate that, man. Let's see. Let me take a quick sip, dude. I'm so thirsty tonight. So thirsty. Wee! Flexing Jesus, good to see you, man. Thank you so much for the super chat and channel support. Do you think Snoke was always supposed to be the main villain, but since he was killed off, JJ felt forced to bring back the Emperor? I really don't know how to feel about that. I would love to be able to peer into all the decisions and when the decisions were made, if that makes sense. I would love to be able to see when decisions were made. I know a lot of story meetings and stuff like that happened before the Force Awakens.
HelloGreedo.
One sec.
Me again. I wanted to thank you for your advice in the last time. Since then,
Oh,
I've
nice.
uploaded my first 4 videos and I'm really enjoying it. What's your favorite part of doing YouTube?
Hell yeah, there you go, Star Wars Cantina. Congrats on pulling the trigger and making some videos, man. Give me one sec. Oh, crap. Where was I? There we go. Flexing Jesus, I really don't know. I would love to be able to know that, right? So if I had to guess, golly. Man. The transition between The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi felt very seamless to me. The demise of Snoke in The Last Jedi felt very, I don't know, calculated. And I don't know if it was ever intended or for Snoke to be. I doubt it. It happened. So the intention was probably there to kill him. I don't know about the Emperor though. That's one of the things that I just can't really wrap my head around, bringing back the Emperor in such a clunky way, and it feels so ham-fisted and forced and uninventive and unimaginative, and so I almost hesitate to say that the Emperor was planned all along, because of how just ham-fisted it does feel. Could be completely wrong, but there wasn't much setup for it. Not that there really needed to be, but am I the only one that felt that way? It just felt so... I don't know. It felt so... I just keep using the word generic, and I don't really know how to justify that statement, but it just felt like big, shallow, generic whatever. McClunky, there you go, McClunky. But I don't know. I'm not a fan of. The concept of Palpatine being in the movie, even, weird. But flexing, I appreciate that, man. I want to know in like 10, 15, 20 years. I would love to have some behind the scenes documentaries and stuff like that with directors and writers and people in the production, but you never know. Never know. Jacob Drennick, thank you so much, man. What is your favorite... Where did that go? What is your favorite non-Star Wars film by a Star Wars movie director? That's an interesting question. I would say... Oh, dude, that's really tough. You got Lucas, you got Marquand, you got Irvin Kershner, you got Rian Johnson, you got J.J. Abrams. I love American Graffiti. It's such a fun movie. I love Looper is great. Brick was interesting. I wouldn't put it at the tip top of the spear though. Man, and Abrams has done a ton, right? Man, that's really tough. My head wants to say American Graffiti, but kind of my heart wants to say Star Trek 2009. That it might be Star Trek 2009, to tell you the truth. I love that movie. Sure, when I think of Star Trek, I think of, The Next Generation. That's my type of Star Trek movie. That's my type of Star Trek that I like. But it might be Star Trek 2009, Jacob. That might be my favorite non-Star Wars film by a Star Wars director. just because it was completely unexpected when I went and saw it. I didn't know what to expect. You know, I'm familiar with Star Trek. I watched The Next Generation growing up. I constantly put episodes on here and there. It's a show that's continuously been in my life forever. And so when I went to sit down in the theater to watch Star Trek 2009, it was such a pleasant, just kind of, yes, it wasn't as heady. But let's face it, the original series wasn't as heady either. More heady than this, of course, but it was just such a fun, fast-paced. The characters were great. The camaraderie, the banter, everything about that movie is fun. And without a doubt, I mean, it's all due to the performances and the chemistry that all those characters have, you know. So that's my answer. There you go. That's my answer. So yeah, Star Trek 2009, Jacob. But I appreciate that, man. And Cole Schreiber, good to see you. Happy New Year's, HG. Thanks for almost 10 years of great content. That is hard to believe. You are the YouTube Yoda, always providing wisdom. You need to start a podcast. Well, thank you so much, man. Yeah, it's about 8.5 years now. And it's crazy. That's insane. Absolutely insane. Yeah, it's weird, right? It's very weird, Cole, for me to think about, because I think about, you know, let's say it is 10 years. Let's just say 10 years. 10 years ago, you know, I was 23. 10 years ago, I was 23. 10 years ago, some of the people watching me right now were 8 years old. That is a big, that's trippy to me. You know what I mean? That's weird to think about. Time moving. Keeps on ticking. Ticking. But I appreciate the kind words, man, and the support, and Happy New Year right back to you. You said you need to start a podcast. I've always considered it. I don't know exactly how I would do it. I have some friends that I would love to do it with, but actually, to tell you the truth, most of them no longer live in town. We all, you know, keep in touch and we visit one another. We all rent a cabin every year and get together and hang out. It's been a tradition since we were 16. Now we're all old, but I would love to do a podcast at some point. The thing is, I almost consider these podcasts, these Lightspeed lounges, you know. I'm not playing a game right now, and I'm just kind of hanging out, and it's a little Q&A, and I'm shooting the shit, and to me, this is almost like doing a podcast, you know. But eventually, I would like to do something. There's a few friends of mine that I think would be fun to do it with. Maybe in the distant future, if any of us ever live close by again. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, Cole. Thanks so much, man. And Edward Moody, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support. Just wanted to say I enjoy your book and found a lot of your stories relatable. Well, thank you so much. Well, first of all, thank you for picking it up, man. And I love hearing that. I'm really glad. It was insanely nerve-wracking, Ed, to you know, put that out. And it shouldn't have been, right? Like, I've made, I don't know, 850 videos or something like that over almost 9 years. I've said a lot. I've changed my opinion on a lot. I've written a lot. I've put myself out there a lot. So it shouldn't have been nerve-wracking, but this was different, right? This was a 3-year project of me just kind of writing out ideas, and whenever I felt like tossing some ideas in the book, I would do it. And it's a little more permanent, right? It's a little more of a time capsule in a way of an individual, like, 3-year chunk of thought. So it was a little nerve-wracking, but Ed, I appreciate the hell out of you picking it up. I'm glad you found some of it relatable, and I'm glad you enjoy it, man. That's awesome to hear. It's gotten great reception, more than I could have ever imagined. Like, you know, people have reviewed it well, and it's incredibly humbling. And like I said, I was nerve-wracking. I was biting my fingernails, man. But I had fun with it, and if anybody out there wants to pick it up and you don't end up liking it, at least the cover's cool. So, And I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. And BK Games. Where? Let's see. BK Games. Opinions on Fallen Order. Haven't played much yet. Oh, you haven't played much yet. So, okay, I'm not going to spoil anything for you, man. It's my favorite Star Wars single-player game. I stress single-player because my favorite Star Wars game of all time is Star Wars Galaxies. Fallen Order has some of the most addictive and challenging combat I've ever played in a single-player experience. I loved the parkour mechanics. The adventure mechanics was fun. The characters are great. The story's fantastic. There's really not many negative things that I can say about the game. There's only things that I wish were a little different. You know what I mean? And they're not negatives, but I wish there was more, I don't know, exploration, RPG elements, more, I don't know. You call it Fallout, call it Red Dead, whatever. That's for a different game, I suppose. But, dude, Fallen Order is great. It was, I'm not going to say it was a surprise, but I was honestly surprised how great it was, how much I enjoyed it, how much I wanted to continue playing it, and how well it was received. EA needed a win, Star Wars video games needed a win, and it's a hell of a win, and it's a hell of a ride. So, you know, yeah, you need to play it, man. You need to play it. So, anyway, I appreciate that. And French-Canadian Wolfman, he's the only one who reacted normally to big sea creatures chasing the bongo while Obi and Q looked like they were riding through a cornfield. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, calm, deadpan face. I feel like there's so many moments, if I watched it again, it would be way more noticeable. But act scared. Maybe they did act scared at another take. Or maybe, I don't know. That's very interesting. Or maybe that was an intentional. It was obviously intentional because they used the footage, but maybe it was there to show Jar Jar's goofiness even more. You know what I mean? You have these characters that are just kind of deadpanned and not reactionary whatsoever, and then you have Jar Jar who is over the top reactionary, if that makes sense. But
I believe that there are some Vardrobi 1 interactions between 3 and 4, or even a battle that we haven't heard about that we could see in the Kenobi show. What is your opinion?
Tan Production, thank you so much, man. Give me one sec. That's probably going to be 15 minutes. I apologize, guys. I'm super long-winded, and I don't want to leave anybody out. I appreciate that, Tan. Sorry for the sniffles, guys. I think I'm getting a little cold here. But yeah, Wolfman. I feel like if I watch the movie again anytime soon, that kind of stuff will be completely noticeable. Acting against green screens and yeah, that kind of stuff. That's always been a thing in one shape or form, you know, with models and rear projections and all that kind of stuff. But I think this may be a little bit different. But anyway. Thanks, man. And Brandon Ramirez has been watching you since high school. Here's some dollar signs. Well, I appreciate that. And again, Brandon, that is, to me, mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing to me because, as I said earlier, I've been doing this for 8.5 years, and there's kids who were probably, 9, 10 years old when I first started this thing, and now they're watching me. Or it's just weird for me to think about. It's also cool for me to think about, Brandon, because there's not YouTubers, because there was no YouTube when I was in high school, but you know, in the middle to late 2000s or early 2010s, you know, there were videos online. Angry Video Game Nerd, James Rolfe is probably the biggest inspiration for this channel's existence, and I credit him with kind of giving me the spark to want or to realize that I could do this. And to think that you've been watching me like I maybe used to watch Angry Video Game Nerd is weird. It's cool though, man. But dude, thank you so much. I appreciate that. So at the max, you were in high school 8.5 years ago, which is kind of crazy. Nuts. Caretaker Wanted, fun video idea comparing people's reactions to Rey and Palp's relationship to 1980s reaction with Luke and Vader's. That is a really interesting. Yeah. I really like that. let me pull up the old file here, the HelloGreedo file on the old desktop. 887 Rey Palp versus Luke Vader. Cool. I really like that idea. I mean, you know me. I like doing those history research Star Wars videos. I've done that with Clone Wars and Ahsoka. I've done that with, critic and fan reactions of The Empire Strikes Back, The Phantom Menace, and that idea is kind of right up my alley. So I'll if there's enough material there, though, you know what I mean, Caretaker. That's where it gets a little fishy with a lot of the early stuff, with a lot of the OT, because yes, you can have. You pretty much rely on kind of critic assessment for those movies. There are like Starlog magazine stuff, a lot of it, but it's not as in-depth and detailed because Starlog magazine talks about a lot of things, and I'm specifically talking about like where you could write into the magazine and have your questions and stuff like that answered. That's really fun to mine because there's a lot of like kind of gauging the audience's reaction, the fans' reaction of things back in the day. I'm very curious how much material I could find on that, but dude, it's a challenge, and I love a good research challenge. So I appreciate that, Caretaker. The idea is written down, and after I finish this next video, I might end up, I might be the next one. But I appreciate that, man. And Star Wars Cantina, thank you so much as well. Hello, Greedo, me again. I wanted to thank you for your advice in the last time. Since then, I've uploaded my first 4 videos, and I'm really enjoying it. What's your favorite part of doing YouTube? Dude, well, first of all, congratulations, like I said, on pulling the trigger and making your first videos. I'll have to check them out, but that's the biggest step, is getting started. Because I don't know about you guys, but I have a lot of ideas that have never come to fruition. And the biggest step to kind of pushing that and making your ideas happen is just kind of stepping over that line and doing it, right? So congratulations on doing it, man. I'll check it out. Was that on Saturday? It might have been a week ago or so. I can't remember. But my favorite part of doing YouTube, golly, it's still a fun creative outlet. That's the biggest thing. I do some freelance stuff, and it's not really my idea of creative, right? Whenever you're doing freelance stuff for other people and whatnot, sure, it can be fun. It can be an enjoyable experience. It can be menial. You just listen to a podcast and do some crap. But this is my baby. This is my entire like creative outlet. That's what I love about it, is that if I want to make something stupid, I can make it. If I want to make a Han Solo or a Solo trailer reaction video where I sit on the toilet for 2 minutes with earbuds in, wearing a stormtrooper helmet and blurring out the bits down below, I can do it. That's honestly my favorite part of YouTube, is the complete creative freedom. And having that creative outlet. I could not, I won't say anything, but like, if I didn't have, like, if I didn't utilize the channel in the way that I do, like the Lightspeed Lounge that you're looking at right now, if I did not have this and I just had, I don't know, a webcam on me, it's not for me. I would rather put some effort into graphic design, some videography, because more important than anything, it's a creative outlet. And yeah, so anyway, best of luck to you, man. I appreciate it. And I'll have to check it out after the stream. And did you guys hear that Death Star alarm? That means Mr. Tyler C. has joined the fleet. Tyler C., thank you so much for becoming the latest member, the newest member of the fleet. You get a special role in the HelloGreedo Discord server. Once a month, I do a supporter Q&A. The next one is going to be probably the first Monday of the new year, I guess. Will be... Oh, one sec.
New characters, such a different directorial style, self-confident Han as someone racked with guilt plus his death. Was TFA really so safe? Sand and Death Stars do not a copy make.
Jordan Kelly, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support, man. I greatly appreciate that. Give me one sec. All right, so let me see. Super chats. The Muddler. Okay, Tyler C, once again, thank you so much, shipmate. Welcome to the fleet. If everybody in the channel in the chat could do me a favor and say, welcome to the fleet, Tyler, I would appreciate that. But dude, welcome aboard, shipmate. I appreciate that. All right, let me see. I got the Muddler, French Canadian Wolfman, SSK286, Brandon Ramirez, Ryan Adams, Caleb Kemp, Eclipse Productions, Caleb Kemp, Tan Production, Tyler C, Patrick Bullington, Overlord and Sith, and Jordan Kelly. All right, I appreciate all the support, guys. I'm very long-winded. I will get to you. Absolutely. And the Muddler, thank you so much, man. What would you like for Fallen Order 2? I would like to be able to play as Seer with a mix of dark side abilities and blaster combat. That'd be fun. Oh, like interchangeable characters and stuff like that? So, I haven't really thought about this, Muddler. For a sequel, what would I want? Oh, man. So I don't want to spoil anything for those of you who haven't played the game and beaten the game. So yeah, I can't really say anything about that. So how about this? Muddler, the mechanic that I want more of for Fallen Order 2 is exploration. I want more freedom of movement. I want more planet hopping. Sure, there's a few planets, but I want more RPG elements, NPCs. I want more exploration and freedom of movement like that. Does that make sense? Basically, what I'm saying is I want Skyrim, Fallout, Red Dead Redemption 2, Jedi Fallen Order 2. Cool? So, I think the way the story ended, that would kind of suit things pretty well. Maybe there's not a linear... obviously, there's going to be a story. There's going to be a linear story that you could follow, but I would like there to be maybe more side quests, or if that's the right terminology to use, I really don't know, but more, player input and exploration and customization. Go on these random missions for credits. Maybe you're just living life as Cal. But that's what I would love. That's what I would love in a sequel to Mother. And maybe that's for a different game series. Maybe that's not what they're gearing up for Jedi Fallen Order 2. If I'm assuming it's going to be a thing, Jedi : Fallen Order. Maybe the second one is Jedi : I don't know. I have no idea. No idea. But almost a Zelda type RPG. Yeah, that would be fun for sure. But yeah. And French Canadian Wolfman, I love Snoke, and him being a clone manipulated by Palpatine is BS. What was his plan if Kylo had decided to kill Rey, who Palpy apparently wanted? Oh yeah, dude. There's so many things. I've done a little bit of reading of people talking about that kind of stuff. There's always goofy, nonsensical things in between Star Wars movies, and even trilogies. But this seems to be a pretty kind of huge leap, I guess. A very, as I keep saying, like a hard turn off the highway right into the woods. A very different, did not feel like a follow-up, did not feel like a sequel, did not feel like a continuation. And yeah, the Snoke and the cloning and seeing him in a vat of, I don't know, clone goo with multiple Snoke body parts. Cool. As I've said, a lot of the stuff in the movie just felt like the worst. If you If there was a Star Wars fan fiction generator app on your phone, and you could scale it from the most creative and interesting, or the worst and the, I don't know, the most uninventive ideas, you scale it to the uninventive and you hit generate. It just, I don't know, man. A lot of that kind of stuff just, I don't know. Not a fan of it. But yeah, there's a lot of like, why? Okay. But yeah. And SSK286, do you think the sequel trilogy will age well? Yes, I do. Because, for one, if anybody was around and alive and had their fingers on the pulse of the fandom in the late 90s and the early 2000s, if you would have asked people that same question back then, the overwhelming majority would say no, right? Do you think the prequel trilogy will age well? And holy hell, the vast majority would say absolutely not. So I see it as a generational thing, as evident by the evidence that we've lived through before. Star Wars is cyclical. Star Wars is generational. The kids that are watching it now are going to grow up and make, the prequel Strike Back style documentaries where they defend what they love, right? The negative reception is nowhere near what it was back then. So yeah, I do think they'll age well. I do. And mainly for the reason of seeing kind of the ebb and flow of this cycle happen before, But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Brandon Ramirez, I was thinking, are Ben and Rey the new versions of the beings from Mortis? That is without a doubt what I kind of thought, and maybe that's what they were going for. Maybe not as godlike, I suppose. But that's without a doubt the vibe that I got. For those of you who don't know about Mortis, most of you probably do. Who am I talking to? A bunch of Star Wars fans, right? There's really nothing to spoil, right? It's very kind of spiritual and woo-woo and a lot of religious undertones. There's the father and the daughter and the son. They represent different aspects of the Force, and no question about it. When I saw, one sec.
2019 tonight with you here, HG. Not the best year personally, but had a good dose of SW at the end. Here's to a strong fresh start. Wishing best to Mrs. HG and Little Miss HG.
Sapity, cheers, man. Thank you so much for the channel support this evening. I greatly appreciate that. Give me one sec, guys. I appreciate the patience. So, yeah, Brandon, no question about it. That is, you could without a doubt see it from that perspective. And I kind of do. I'm sure they pulled ideas. Dude, they pulled so many ideas out that have been done before. Somebody made a list on Twitter, and I was reading through it. Was it this morning or yesterday morning? I can't remember. In my groggy 5 a.m. Getting out of bed. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Ryan Adams, what's your opinion or take on Star Wars fan films, and have you checked out Jamie Costa's Kenobi fan film yet? Thanks for all the amazing content. I don't think I have. I believe somebody recently linked me to that. I have not seen that specific one. So Ryan, you're not the Ryan Adams, right? You're not Ryan Adams in the Cardinals, right? But I've always said that I greatly appreciate every Star Wars fan film, even if it doesn't hit me, even if I didn't really get much out of it, even if I didn't like it. I appreciate it on kind of a deep level, because they're all projects of passion, right? They're all pouring their love for this thing that they obviously care about and want to tell stories. It's a sandbox, right? They want to play in the sandbox and tell their own stories. So I've always appreciated them. Some of my favorite ones are Jakku First Wave. It's like 4 minutes long, but there's no action. It's all dialogue. It's really well acted. If you haven't seen it, Ryan, you probably have, but it's called Jakku First Wave. It's fantastic. Another one is called, oh my god, what's it called? It's something past. Days, what is it called? Days Past? Is that what it's called? Let's see. Star Wars fan film, Days. No, not Days of Our Lives. Yeah, it's called Days Past. Yeah, if you guys have, that's such a good one. To the point where I'm going to link it right now in the chat. All right, if you guys, maybe you can't watch it right now. Maybe you want to keep watching this stream. Trust me, this fan film is better than this stream, so go watch it. So yeah, Ryan, if you haven't seen Days Past, check it out. It's so well done, so well acted, and again, it's not action packed. I feel like a lot of Star Wars fan films are like, I don't know, After Effects tests. You know what I mean? Like they get a lightsaber or Force lightning plug-in, and they just go crazy with it, which is fine if that's what you want to make. But when it comes to fan films, all you got to do is watch Jakku First Wave and Days Past to see where my preference for fan film, Star Wars fan films lies. You know what I mean? But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Caleb Kemp, once again, man, thank you so much. The more I think about The Rise of Skywalker, the more I think Palpatine was definitely a mistake. Too much is going on shoving Palps into the story. Yeah, one of the weirdest things, and I actually talked about this in my video that I wrote and recorded today, Caleb. I'll probably get it out in the next few days, probably after the new year. But one of the dumbest things that I hear people say, it's so silly, is like, The Last Jedi didn't leave them with anything. What? That's what they do. They're writers. They're executive producers on Rian Johnson's film. Like, what? They're writers. They're creatives. That's what they do. They take people's. They take what came before and write subsequent material to it. They didn't. The Last Jedi didn't leave anything. That's so dumb. It's such a dumb thing to say. It's dumb. They didn't leave anything. What? That's not how it works. There's so much they could have done other than... They literally had 2 years of wiggle room, right? I'm not talking about outside of the movies. I'm not talking about in production. I'm talking about internally in the story. The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi backed up, literally ending and starting at the same time, right? Narratively. The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker had, what, like a 2 or 3 year break? You could have done... It's a blank slate at that point. You could have done anything. But you just ham-fist Palpatine back in there? Why? It felt like it was just pandering to the most basic Star Wars fan needs that I have, right? The most basic whatever Star Wars fan needs that I personally have. And that's not what I'm looking for in my Star Wars. I'm looking to be a little challenged, you know? I'm not looking to be spoon-fed like a baby bird with more Palpatine. We've had Palpatine. He's been present in a lot of Star Wars movies, and a lot of Star Wars shows, and a lot of Star Wars stuff. I want new stuff. I want new stuff. But yeah. Anyway. I appreciate that, Caleb. And yeah, Palpatine being back does nothing for me, man. Like, it's cool that people were excited to see him again, but you know, like I said, we've seen him in a lot of other stuff, and I want new. But yeah. Anyway. And Eclipse Productions, thank you so much as well. What other live-action Star Wars show would you like to see Disney Plus in the future? Well, by that monologue that I just rambled on with, something new. So I've always kind of liked the idea of, and maybe this would be too much and too revealing and too much exposition or killing of mystery, but I've always liked the idea of going way back in time and seeing kind of when the Force was first discovered, because I've always seen the Force as kind of like gravity in a way. You know, it's always been there. It's always been there. It's always been lurking in the background, and all it took was for somebody to discover it, right? Oh my God, you can bend this to your wills and wishes. Should we, you know, hold it in and not tell anybody about it? Should we democratize it and spread it across the galaxy and tell everybody about this power? I think that would be a very interesting kind of starting point with the Force, an episodic show surrounding, you know, I don't know what it would be, but I think that would be very interesting. And I love mystery, and would that be too revealing? Would that kill a lot of mystery? Maybe. But it's an idea that I've always kind of been intrigued by. So that's kind of where my head goes, Eclipse. Because look, we got a bounty hunter show right now. We're getting a Jedi show with Obi-Wan Kenobi. Maybe like a New Republic political drama would be fun. Like West Wing in Star Wars. I honestly think something like that, like Bloodline, the novel Bloodline, something like that would be fun. Political drama, political thriller, vying for power, people trying to get to the throne, Game of Thrones. I think something like that would be fun. So, yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. Let's see. Let me take a quick sip. All right. And Caleb Kemp, once again, man, thank you so much. Kylo should have been the main villain, and an ever conflicted Kylo leading the First Order versus Rey, assured of who she is, leading the rebels with Kylo's redemption as the climax would have been more impactful, in my opinion. Yeah, I was kind of gearing up to see Kylo just be a complete aggressor, hell-bent on domination. I think things were set up really well for that. Sure, some kind of redemption arc at the end. I don't know how that would be done, but and it maybe not even a redemption arc. I've been one of the few people running around saying I don't need that. Just because somebody is born a Solo from two beloved characters doesn't mean that, you know, they deserve redemption. Because hey, if you look at it as a fan, sure, you want the son of these two beloved characters to be A-okay, but internally in the story, it's a different story. So I think I would have liked it way more if they didn't, you know, shoehorn a dead character back into a show, or a movie rather. Kylo leading the First Order on the march. Yeah, you know, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, Caleb. Let's see. Tan Production, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support. I believe that there are some Vader Obi-Wan interactions between 3 and 4, or even a battle that we haven't heard about that we could see in the Kenobi show. What is your opinion? Tan, that's possible. Sure. I have a feeling that kind of stuff will absolutely be in the show. I'm sure he'll go on these grand adventures and whatnot. As much as I think something like that is probably going to happen, you know, I still want it to be kind of small scale. I still kind of want the Kenobi show to be more of a low-key character study about a guy who's self-marooned himself. He's put himself in isolation in the middle of nowhere. I love that idea more than seeing Obi-Wan Kenobi on these grand adventures, because, you know, he's self-marooned himself on Tatooine, and he's there watching a very special person. And, you know, to see what would he be doing? Would he be getting off the rock that is Tatooine? I mean, you can't have any Imperial presence on Tatooine that finds him, right? Because, I mean, then he's found out. I don't know. But I do have kind of like a bad feeling that there will be a lot of, I don't know, not a bad feeling, but just it's going to be kind of different, very different than what I'm want it to be. Let's just say that. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Tyler C, thank you so much. Only bad thing about Fallen Order is the ponchos. Love the content, Greedo. Well, thanks, man. Yeah, I didn't realize it would be a big joke when I was playing it. It never bothered me because I'm not much of a collector in games. You know, it's kind of goofy customization, and many of them are very similar to one another. So it's kind of the illusion of customization in a way. But yeah, I don't know. I think I stuck with the same exact, you know, poncho, ship, and BD1 design through the entire game. I honestly don't think I changed it once. I mean, I know I changed it once when I first launched the game, just to see what the options were, and I had the deluxe edition, so I just got the ones that it came with, and never changed them again. So yeah, ponchos. That's what it's going to be called. That's what the sequel is going to be called. Jedi: Ponchos. There you go. Called it. And Eclipse Production, thank you so much for the super chat, channel support, man. McClunky right back at you. Oh, McClunky. But I appreciate that, man. And Patrick Bullington, how does your channel not have more subs? Keep it coming, man. Do you think the Mango DeLorean. Oh, a little DeLorean. I thought there's no way that's an autocorrect. You specifically typed DeLorean in there. I will have some tie-ins with the First Order. Seems too far. Seems too far. So, how does it? I don't know. I don't make very many videos. You know, I just kind of make a couple videos a week. That's what's funny. I've made like 800 something videos in almost 9 years. There's people that do that in a fucking month. This is all fun, man. I'm not a numbers guy anyway, but so do I think the Mandalorian will introduce any First Order? I not by name, not blatantly, but I would suspect that maybe there will be some kind of hint of just some lines about the rumblings of a new faction or something like that. Do I need that? No. Do I want that? No. Is that important? Not at all. I want this thing to be kind of a standalone, as it seems to be right now. I kind of want it to be a standalone thing. But I would suspect that as the final season comes close, whenever that will be, there will be some kind of like, maybe not major tie-in, but some kind of tie-in. I would suspect that. You know, I mean, you know Star Wars, man. Tie-ins left and right, left and right. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. In Overlorded Sith, I heard rumors that a Maul series is coming. Yay, nay. See, again, Overlorded. I'm sure people would be on cloud 9 for an idea like that. For me, it's just kind of a meh idea. I don't believe any rumors. I haven't believed any rumors in 8.5 years of this channel's existence. I've seen thousands of them. 99.9% of them never become a thing ever. So the idea of a Maul TV series, man, like we've seen Maul in the prequels, the Phantom Menace, we saw Maul in the Clone Wars. We saw Maul in a lot of things, right? If they're going to put some effort into a new show, I just want it to be new, man. Like, even the idea, I'm excited for the Kenobi show. I don't know what it's going to be like, but if I had a choice, I just would want new stuff. And I know you kind of got to tie things in, because you think of Star Wars, you think of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and people love that character, and people want more of that character. Cool, I get it. But if, I just really want to focus on new, and the idea of like mulching over Maul again is just kind of like, I don't know. But yeah. Anyway, Overlorded, I appreciate that, man. And Jordan Kelly, between focus on new characters, such a different directorial style, self-confident Han. Oh, there we go. Someone racked with guilt, plus his death, was TFA really so safe? Sand. Death Star Wars do Sand and Star Wars. Wait, what is Sand and Death Stars? Oh, I see what you say. Sand and Death Stars do not a copy make. Was it really safe? I would say that to me, I've been saying this for a while now. TFA felt like the safest movie ever made. Star Wars movie rather ever made. We're talking the safe in relative terms, right? Is TFA not the safest Star Wars movie ever made? In relative terms, it is a nostalgia trip. You look at Empire, that's certainly not safe. The Return of the Jedi is definitely safe. The Phantom Menace isn't safe. The prequel trilogy is not safe. I mean, judging by the reception, and even George Lucas talking about not necessarily, he talks about fans like wanting the same thing over and over again, and it's certainly true that he definitely didn't want to just kind of mulch over the same thing. The Last Jedi, not safe. The Rise of Skywalker, I would consider safe. How do I justify that statement? I really don't know. It's just a feeling, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, I really like the Force Awakens. It's great. It's my 5th favorite Star Wars movie, but I recognize that when I sat down in the theater, so much of that movie was a nostalgia trip. So much of that movie was a nostalgia trip. Even with new characters, even with, Death of Han. The Death of Han was something that, Harrison Ford talked about since Return of the Jedi, and it was kind of expected for me, and it didn't feel like a shocking moment to me, just because I could have guessed it, but I don't know. I don't really know. Maybe I should make a video about that, Jordan, and kind of expand upon that statement. I certainly think that statement is more based around not necessarily individual decisions or things like that, but an overall feeling that we've been here before. You know what I mean? But yeah. And Icy Bubba, I freaking love The Rise of Skywalker. Sorry you didn't. No, that's great. I'm glad you liked it. I seem to be in the minority when it comes to that, which is good. Been there before. So yeah, I'm glad you liked it, man. That's what's great about all this stuff, right? There's so much Star Wars. There's so many facets to enjoy Star Wars. There's movies that I don't like that you probably like. There's movies that you like that I probably don't like, right? And the idea that we're all just going to be shitty to one another because, you didn't like a thing that I liked, or, let me go tell you about the plot holes that you didn't notice, you dummy. It's dumb. Dumb talk. But I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. I wish I enjoyed it a little more than I did. But I appreciate that support this evening. And Duncan Austin, I want to see a Jedi Fallen Order-esque game that's either post-Empire or pre-Phantom Menace. Post-Empire would be fun. A lawless world. I love that idea. I would pick that over pre-Phantom Menace, Duncan. A Jedi Fallen Order style game that's either post-Empire. Yeah, I would pick post-Empire because just kind of looking at even The Mandalorian, right? Well, I love Werner Herzog's kind of comment or monologue throughout it, where he talks about, are things really better right? There's more death, there's more violence, there's more chaos. And I think a world without the Empire would be a fun world to play a video game in, right? Do anything, be anything, and kind of live a life in this Star Wars video game where it's completely lawless. There is no central control anymore, right? I would love that. So if I had to pick, Duncan, between a post-Empire game or a pre-Phantom Menace game, I would definitely go with post-Empire for sure, because you could definitely play out the Imperial remnants, the different factions, the warlords that splinter, and the overall just lawlessness and chaos that comes from a power vacuum. You know, when a giant dictatorship crumbles, what fills its place? We know what fills its place, but I'm sure directly after it, you know, it'd be a fun chaos to play a video game in. But yeah. Anyway, man, I appreciate that. And Duncan Austin, once again, JJ was executive producer on TFA and TLJ. He had the power to tell Ryan no on anything, but he did. Yeah, it's kind of interesting, like the narrative that gets spun by certain people and certain websites and whatnot. Yeah, it's weird, man. It's really weird. I almost don't think people understand what certain people do on movie productions. I don't think people understand how like how the bigwigs operate in these studios. I don't really think. I think people are just mad and they conjure up narratives in their brain, if that makes sense. But it's weird, Duncan. The narratives that people create in their mind to kind of justify their feelings. Not just with Star Wars. That is a big problem with life and human beings. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Sapity, glad to share the end of 2019 tonight with you here, HG. Not the best year personally, but had a good dose of Star Wars at the end. Here's to a strong, fresh start. Wishing best to Mrs. HG and Little Miss HG. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I hope things get better for the old 2020. But yeah, a good dose of Star Wars at the end for sure. Yeah, New Year's Eve is tomorrow night. I'm making burgers, and I'm actually making a Shake Shack copycat recipe. If you guys haven't had Shake Shack, it's the best fast food burger I've ever had. I've only had it. I've had it twice. I've had it twice. I was out in LA, had it, delicious at the airport. I was in Miami. Me and my wife were just in Miami for like a conference. We turned the corner late night after some beers, and we were just standing there like, oh my God, there's a random ass Shake Shack here. Why am I going on this tangent? Because I'm very excited for the Shake Shack copycat recipe burgers that I'm making tomorrow night. Anyway, Sapity. I appreciate that, man. And Happy New Year right back at you. I hope it's a good one. And Griffin Campbell, I want your unfiltered opinion about the Phantom Menace. Cheers, brother. Hope you have had a great holiday. Well, I appreciate that. I'm not too familiar with them. To tell you the truth, if you guys know me, if you read the old Sorry About the Mess, I don't really pay attention to much social media or YouTube. I know them out of the periphery. Let's just say that. I don't know. It's a group, right? I don't like groups. I don't want to be a part of groups. I don't want to be a part of a party. When you become a part of a group or a party and you tailor yourself and your existence around a group or a party, you take on the worst aspects of that group or party, right? You kind of lose a little bit of individuality. I'm talking about ideological groups. To me, ideological groups are weird. Because it becomes, I don't know, very groupthink, very fast. Now, I'm not talking about like charity groups. They're great, but like, and this isn't just about the Phantom Menace. This is about whatever goofy ass Star Wars group exists by name out there. So this is not solely, pointing them out. I don't like the concept of ideological groups. It's just a philosophical disagreement that I have. My brain can't get around it. Always had that opinion. And when you, like I said, I've seen people kind of adhere to different Star Wars groups, and then the next day that group is going after them for something they said that was so inconsequential, and you find it hard to believe that people are now going after them. Does that make sense? I don't know. So, you know, I know about them on the periphery. It's kind of very interesting. I've had people try to pull me into bullshit before. And I'm like, fucking dude, I'm 33 years old. I have a kid. I don't give a flying fuck what your group has to say about my YouTube channel. I could give two shits. I check Twitter at 5 in the morning and I don't touch it until 5 in the morning the next day. Like, so it's very funny. Sometimes, like, I will check my notification. Like I said, I get up at 4 in the morning. I usually check my Twitter account at like 5 or so after I write a script or two, or work on freelance stuff. And then occasionally I'll just have like a bunch of notifications, and I'll sit back and I'll be like, what? I don't know. It's so weird, man. People are fucking goofy. Very goofy. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. I hope I gave a good, decent answer. I'm very, I don't know, hands off with a lot of dumb shit. So, Raymond Leon, thank you so much. I hate that Disney gave into the people who bullied Kelly Marie Tran off the internet when those are the people who give this fan base a bad name. I didn't really see it that way. Are you talking about specifically like kind of the lack of Rose in the movie, or the lack of I don't know, not maybe screen time or importance on the character? The thing is, like, I don't know, man, you got to make your movie, right? And there was so much going on in this movie and there were so many goddamn characters in this movie. And I bet there's a 4-hour long cut of this movie somewhere. I think, so hear me out here. I think, Raymond, I completely get what you're saying, and I see why you would see it that way. Completely get it. I think when we see things like that, we perceive it as giving in to certain groups, right? Maybe I just give people the benefit of the doubt, but I'm more apt to see it as, like, I don't know, just editing, or an unintentional consequence is pissing off a group of people by doing a thing that you probably just took out of the movie to make it a little more smooth. Does that make sense? I don't really know how to put this into words. I don't really know how to spin this thought. When we see something that we perceive as giving in via the movie, right? We see it. We're looking at it from a perspective of this, like, fan Twitterverse. And the people making the thing probably have no fucking idea what's going on here, right? And so we perceive it as stepping on the toes of something, when in reality, it probably wasn't intended to be like that. Does that make sense? I don't know if it makes sense in my brain, but I don't know. Yeah, maybe I didn't explain it that well, but anyway. But I get what you're saying. I get why people would feel that way. Why do you wake up so early, Connor? Got to. Necessity, man. Set my alarm for 4. My daughter is almost 2 years old. She wakes up at about 6:30 or 7. Have to have a couple hours to work on stuff, you know. It's just necessity. And I'm usually asleep by, dude, I get no sleep. I'm usually asleep by 11 and I wake up at 4, so that's my routine. Anyway. And SSBB is number 1. Thank you so much. Was disappointed Finn got so little to do besides running around and yelling Rey's name. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like I was saying, there's so many people that are disappointed with not necessarily the portrayal, but the I guess the screen time of certain characters. And I sit back And I sit back and I go, hey, I would have liked less. We had so many goddamn characters. We had so many threads going through this movie. Let's condense it. Let's focus it. Let's get it. You know, and not every character is going to have equal screen time, right? So let's kind of get this arrow pointing straight and kind of guiding this thing back to the track. That's how I see it, you know. So not every character is going to have giant spotlight. Sure, maybe Finn. I don't know. There's so many woulda, coulda, shouldas with this movie for me, you know. But it is kind of funny. How many times does he yell Rey? He yells it once in The Force Awakens, right? Does he yell it in The Last Jedi? I don't think so, because they're not together whatsoever until the end. Right? Yeah. He's looking for it, that's right. And then he yells it 2 or 3 times in The Rise of Skywalker, right? I don't know. Interesting. But I appreciate that, man. And AT chat, the dead speak. Woo! I'll leave it at that. When that crawl came up and I saw that, I just knew. I was like, oh man, oh goodness. As I was reading through it, you know, I can't remember exactly what it said, but it was saying a message from Palpatine, blah blah blah. Just kind of, that's when I kind of just felt, yeah, man. Uh-oh. But I appreciate that, man. And Thornton Wager, good to see you. Overall thoughts on the sequel trilogy and how will your marathons look moving forward? Sequel trilogy, overall thoughts. The Last Jedi is my favorite sequel trilogy movie. The Force Awakens is my second. The Rise of Skywalker is my third. The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, a lot of fun with them. I like them for very different reasons. I like The Force Awakens for kind of kicking in my teeth with some nostalgia and giving me something that just felt, I don't know, just like an absolute callback and throwback to, maybe cheaply, but to what I loved growing up in the OT. I love what, The Last Jedi did with kind of pushing the boundaries and doing something unique and different. The Rise of Skywalker, as I've said, just kind of felt like just a blender full of fan fiction and just a bunch of uninventive stuff. I get why people like it, but for me, it's, as I said in my first review video, if 86% of the audience... If 86% of the audience, which is the Rotten Tomatoes score, liked it and want more of that, then I guess I'm definitely in the minority, because I would take something like The Last Jedi over The Rise of Skywalker any day. But yeah. But I appreciate that, Thornton. And Oscar Rodriguez, thank you so much as well, man. A self-contained Obi-Wan character study would work better as an art house film than a streaming series. I think Solo killed that possibility. Yeah, I agree with you. Maybe I'm a little too optimistic. Maybe I'm a little too hopeful that it's not going to be kind of a run-of-the-mill lightsaber fighting show. I would love for... almost like Castaway on Tatooine, Oscar, is kind of my ideal situation. Something where, he has to blend in, he has to survive, he has to hide out. He is being hunted by the most powerful being in the galaxy. That would be interesting to me. Because the more he shows himself, right, the more you go, well, why didn't they find where he was? He was hiding out supposedly for a very long time. Why didn't he? I don't know. I don't know what to expect, man. It's with The Mandalorian, you kind of So with Solo, you kind of knew what you were going to expect. With Rogue One, kind of knew what it was gonna be like. The Mandalorian, you kind of knew what to expect. But with the Kenobi show, I don't know what to expect, because it could go two very different ways, right? It could go to just a complete action romp, or it could be way more subdued, which I'm hoping for, but we shall see. I don't know, man. I just want new stuff, which, you know, it can be a good, there's a good balance there, right? With the Mandalorian, and then you get the Kenobi show. There's a balance to be had, right? Familiar things being made, but at the same time, new tales with new characters. And I'm fine with both, right? We need both. So, anyway. I appreciate it. And Overlorded Sith, once again, do you think we might see a clone trooper in Mando 2? Season 2. No, I doubt it. Unless there's some... I don't know, unless there's some kind of... Oh, I don't know. Interesting. I didn't think... I was thinking of like an armored clone trooper, but not necessarily a clone trooper. Somebody maybe from a bounty hunter, I don't know, a group or something like that, just donning clone trooper armor just as something to wear. But I think what you're talking about is an actual clone trooper living a life, not wearing the armor in the Outer Rim or something like that, right? That would be cool. Get Tamora Morrison back in there. I that would actually be kind of neat. I don't know where would the age range line up. An old Tamora Morrison. I mean, yeah, it might line up. I doubt that's going to happen, but it would be kind of neat, you know? That would actually be kind of fun. There was an arc in the Clone Wars, or an episode in the Clone Wars, where there was a kind of a runaway clone trooper who was living a life, and maybe there'll be a clone trooper that's this kind of hiding out in the Outer Rim and didn't succumb to Order 66 for whatever reason, you know? Interesting. I don't know. It'd be kind of neat. But yeah. I appreciate that, Sith. And Raptark, good to see you, man. Saw episode 9 yesterday. Was far better than expected. I dare say, after Revenge of the Sith, it's the second best movie in the entire franchise. Well, damn, man. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that you think that. That's one of my favorite things is kind of seeing how... Right after I saw the movie, I started seeing people's like Star Wars ranking lists, right? They're ranking what their favorite Star Wars movie is and stuff like that. I was very surprised to see The Rise of Skywalker so high. I shouldn't have been. Just everybody's Star Wars is different. So to hear that it is your second favorite movie in the franchise is awesome, because that means yesterday you had a hell of a time. And that's what it's all about, man. But I appreciate that, Raptark. Hope everything's going well for you, man. Okay, give me one sec. I am going to make some hot chocolate tonight, even though it's hot outside. My throat is on fire. All right. Tom Ferrara, good to see you, man. Thank you so much for the super chat channel support. The guys behind the Clone Wars show have possibly hinted that in Season 7, the whole Zillo Beast clone concept will be brought back. Did I see that? Let's see, Zillo Beast. Let's see. Is that from... Let me see. Did I ever see that? I must have not seen that. Maybe not. Is that from Season 6? I have not watched Season 6 yet. And do not worry if that is from Season 6, because that doesn't ring a bell. If it is from Season 6, do not worry about spoiling me. The whole show, it's not from Season 6. Did I see that? Why is that not ringing a bell? Huh. Well, I haven't, sorry, I just searched for it. Oh, was it Clone Wars? It wasn't, okay. It's probably something I haven't seen then. Interesting. So yeah, I'm not totally familiar. I'm familiar with the Zillo Beast, but I'm not totally familiar with the whole cloning of it. Yeah, but I don't remember the cloning of it. Anyway, I don't know. Yeah, I'm curious where it's going to go, Tom. And the thing is, like I said, I haven't seen season 6 yet. Planning on finishing that up before the season 7 comes out. So there's a lot of things that I know just by being, you know, a Star Wars fan that I know in the periphery. But I don't know how things link up, you know. So I don't remember the cloning. Okay, I have a horrible memory anyway, but I know I must have watched it then. Interesting. But I appreciate that, Tom. And Boba Fett, honestly, which satisfied you more, the sequel trilogy or The Mandalorian? The sequel trilogy did. Primarily The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. The Mandalorian is great. It's fun. It's just kind of like straightforward, a good ride. That's what it is. It's a straightforward, good ride. The biggest twist is you know, the kid, the baby. I am so glad that I was not spoiled. I am so glad that I watched these damn episodes at 4 in the morning and I don't check what's trending, because whenever you check what's trending in the morning on Fridays, it's always Mandalorian. And I'm so glad that wasn't spoiled for me. My buddy just watched the first episode the other day. So he already knew, you know, it was coming, because the internet loves memes. So yeah, the sequel trilogy, just because, you know, like I've always said, Star Wars is a big movie-going experience, and I don't know if I'll ever be as excited for a show or as satisfied with a show as I am with a movie. That sounds stupid, because TV is so great nowadays. Me saying that is just kind of, you know, I don't know, put my foot in my mouth, because eventually there's going to be something that just tops everything when it comes to TV show, because there's obviously going to be a lot of TV shows being made. So, I don't know. So yeah, sequel trilogy. Love The Mandalorian, though. And Sergio, thank you so much. Why do we need all these backstory films? If the character's past was so important to the narrative, they would have fleshed it out in the main films. Yeah, I kind of have echoed that sentiment many times, Sergio. You know, exposition is exposition. And it's like at the beginning of A New Hope, right? When Obi-Wan is talking to Luke, and he says, you know, your father fought in the Clone Wars, and they're talking about his dad, a great pilot, blah, 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 he was a good friend, blah, blah, blah. That was all exposition. That was all backstory. That was all to get you to understand where Luke came from, or and what Ben was up to before all this, and kind of paint a picture of the past. And then, for whatever reason, you know, Star Wars always needs to say, well, then what happened before? Well, then what happened before? Well, then what did he do then? What happened before? Oh, one sec.
You are the best example of what a Star Wars YouTuber should be.
DMan04151, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support, man. I appreciate the hell out of that. That's an OG HelloGreedo viewer right there, man. Give me one sec. I'm long-winded and late on some super chats, but give me one sec, man. I appreciate that. So yeah, Sergio, like, for me, a lot of mystery is important, right? Sergio, it also reminds me of the Kessel Run line of dialogue in A New Hope. You haven't heard of the Millennium Falcon? It's the ship that made the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs. Okay, what was that all about? Why was that in there? That was in there to tell the audience that, okay, Han Solo, good pilot, fast ship, boom. And now we get a Solo movie made that has the Kessel Run, and we see him meeting Lando and meeting Chewbacca, and we see him playing Sabacc and winning the Falcon and doing everything that we already know about Han Solo. So, I don't know. People love that stuff. It is fun in certain respects and certain aspects. But, to me, it's not the most important thing. Sometimes there are lines of dialogue that are there for, I don't know, just to paint a picture. And then everything just gets so inflated. And people love that stuff. And I get it. It's Star Wars. You want to know everything about everything. It's a living, breathing universe. I get it. But for me, I don't dive that deep into a lot of things like that. I kind of prefer a little bit of mystery to everything needing to be explained, if that makes sense. But anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Raymond Leon, what would you like episode 9 being made into... Oh, would you like episode 9 being made into 2 parts? It's kind of funny that you say that, because I actually... I think that might have been one of my early predictions with episode 9, because I was looking at trends of recent trilogies where, like the Hunger Games movie was split into 2, the last Harry Potter movie was split into 2, the last Twilight movie was split into 2. Like, I just saw this trend of series splitting the final book or film into 2. And I honestly thought they might do that, but then the Star Wars and trilogies and Star Wars. So, no, I wouldn't want it to be a 2-part thing. Would it have made more sense? Probably. You could flesh some things out, bring up some new ideas, and kind of explain some things here and there, why Palpatine is back, all that stuff. But no, I want, like I said, Star Wars and trilogies and Star Wars, and I would rather them. I would have rather them make a more focused movie, make a more cohesive movie, make something that, I don't know, made a little more sense and wasn't so... Oh, man, I don't even know. I don't even know what to say. So, no 2 parts. Make it work in one. Make it work in one. Well, yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Overlorded Sith, thank you so much. My friend once said that military and ex-military are probably the most woke. I must say, I have to say, I agree. Listening to you and my father, I don't know what you mean. Most woke. I must say, my friend once said that military and ex-military are probably the most woke. I must say, I have to agree. Listening to you and my father, I don't know what you mean by that. Most awake. Drink a lot of coffee. Wake up early. Yeah, there's a lot of... I don't know exactly what you mean by that, but it is a very common thread with a lot of military folks. You can almost instantly get a vibe that somebody served as well. It's kind of a weird thing, and it's just kind of an instant connection. Even if you have nothing in common, that's your thing that is in common. But I don't exactly know what you mean. But maybe that's what you mean. As I said in the book, I saw Stuart was here earlier. He was talking about the Navy chapter. I think he said it when I was doing my introduction. But the hardest I've ever laughed, the deepest conversations I've ever had were on that damn boat. And I miss the hell out of those guys. But yeah. Anyway. I appreciate that, man. And Zach Swasta, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support. Do you think the creatures in the newer movies are creative? They all look like slugs and squids to me. Yeah, I've kind of... I've enjoyed the creature design majorly with The Force Awakens more than any, I think. Just because it seemed like there was such most aware. I see what you're saying. Gotcha. There's been you meet a lot of people, you see a lot of things, you interact with people from all walks of life, and it leaves an impression on you for sure. Overlorded. But Zach, I've been pretty pleased with the creature design, specifically with the Force Awakens. Like, maybe, and I think there was so much emphasis on practical and creature design and stuff like that. I just remember seeing so much behind the scenes stuff where that was such a huge emphasis. So overall, I've been, you know, they didn't seem too prevalent in the Last Jedi or the Rise of Skywalker. Maybe I just wasn't paying that much attention to it. But with the Force Awakens, there were a lot of great creature designs. When it comes to slugs and stuff, I haven't really got that vibe. Every creature that I can think of just kind of fits that weird Star Wars, I don't know. It's really hard to put your finger on, right? What makes a Star Wars creature feel like a Star Wars creature? Because there's probably a level of weird that would make it feel too weird, even for Star Wars. You know what I mean? That would be an interesting video to kind of, or a really good interview to do. Maybe I need to start doing interviews. That would be fun. Interviewing some creature designers. That'd be cool. But anyway, I appreciate that, Zach. And Duncan Austin, PSA, the old LE limited edition DVDs of the OTF, the theatrical cuts. Yep. That's the last and best copy. I think Laserdisc is actually better quality. Let's see. Laserdisc is an older technology. It offered a better picture and better sound than videotapes, and it is comparable to DVD, but Laserdisc format is analog DVD. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So, anyway. So yeah, that is the limited edition. The original cuts are on DVD. Yeah. And I don't know if I'm sure you could find that on eBay, but you know, there's things that, let's see, Star Wars, DVD original. Original theatrical trilogy version, 6 DVD set, Han Solo rare. Okay, here we go. So yeah, somebody's selling it. It's not too bad. And it's a widescreen. Nice. So yep, that's the last kind of best picture that you can get for an official release. Wink, wink. There are great options out there. Look up 4K77. Look up the despecialized edition. There's versions of Star Wars that you can get that are Blu-ray quality, or in the case of 4K77, 4K quality. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that. You guys can find the limited edition DVDs with the OT cuts on eBay. I have no idea. I'm DVD lot pre-owned. Yeah, be careful what you buy, though. I think I don't know. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Tom Ferrara, thank you so much as well. At the end of the Zillo Beast Strikes Back, Palpatine talks about the idea of cloning the dead Zillo Beast. I vaguely remember that. I know I saw that arc. I know. God, my memory is so bad. I think my memory gets even worse when I binge watch a show, Tom. There was a section where I was watching the Clone Wars. That was like the only stuff that I made. Just boom, 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 boom. And at a certain point when I started making videos about it and just kind of like binge watching it, my memory fails even more than it already does. But I vaguely remember that. I wish I would have grown up with it, because it probably would have made a bigger kind of splash in my hard drive than it did. You know, a little more better on my memory. But yeah, I appreciate that, Tom. And DMan04151, been a sub since 2011. You are the best example of what a Star Wars YouTuber should be. Don't say that, but I appreciate the sentiment, man. 2011, that's hard to believe, right? That's 8 years ago. In a couple days, that's 8 years ago. been doing this thing for 8.5 years, and it's weird to think about. You know, I have YouTubers, I have video creators that I've been watching for that long as well. And to think that, like, you guys, D-Man, some of you guys have been watching me since the very beginning. Many of you might have been super young when I first started. To think that you guys have gone on this journey with me, this dumb guy with a stormtrooper helmet who just talks about nonsense, going on the journey with me. It's been a hell of a ride. I appreciate that, man. And Cosmic Reader, what are you looking forward to in 2020? Just a broad general, what am I looking forward to? Not Star Wars related? Cool. Well, obviously, first and foremost, watching my daughter grow up. That's going to be, I don't know. I don't really know. What am I looking forward to most? Well, that's number one. I'm also looking forward to, trips with friends that we always plan. But yeah, me and my family do like a trip to Smoky Mountains. It's been like a 40-something year family tradition, and that's coming up soon. February, we're gonna go up there, Smoky Mountains. I love it. There's like a ton of us go up there. We just play cards, have a beer, rent this enormous ass cabin, and hang out. But other than that, man, like just pretty much being a dad and watching my daughter grow up, and it's insane. That's what I'm looking forward to most in 2020. But I appreciate that, man. And Vince Wynn got dragged to the movies a second time. Stuff I liked the first time I loved. Stuff I didn't like really got under my skin. Still sour on a good note. Started reading Darth Bane, and it's really great. Never read that. Interesting. So yeah, I'm curious, Vince, how a subsequent viewing would feel to me. I'm very curious if I'm going to like it more or dislike it more, or if it's going to be the same kind of shrug of the shoulders meh feeling that I have right now with it. I will say that the Last Jedi, every Star Wars movie that I've watched for a second time and a third time, it's grown on me, right? I like Star Wars movies more with more viewings. The only one in this entire sequel trilogy era is Rogue One. That's the one that the more I watch it, the less I like it. And I'm very curious how The Rise of Skywalker is going to play after a second viewing to me. But I have a feeling it's going to be very similar to the way you just described your sentiment or your feelings right there, But anyway, Vince, I appreciate that, man. All right, guys, I'm going to hop off after these final few super chats. I'm going to pop some popcorn and lounge for 30 minutes, set my alarm for 4, and do it all over again, man. Super Snippy, love you, Greedo. Have a good 2020. Right back at you, Super Snippy. I appreciate the hell out of that support, the kind words, and the words of encouragement for having a good one in 2020. Right back at you, Snippy. And Ryan Jost, do you want to see a young Luke in the Kenobi show? If I've had that question asked to me before. And if he is going to be in there, if young Luke is going to be in the Kenobi show, I do not want to see his face. I don't want to hear him speak. I want it to be a far off. Does that make sense? Like something subtly hinted at, like off in the distance. We know who it is, but we don't see him clearly. Does that make sense? We see Obi-Wan gazing at him from afar or something like that, and we don't have a good... We know he's there. We know his spirit's there. We know his presence is there. But that's kind of how I would want it to be. Yeah. That's kind of how I want it to be. If that makes sense. But anyway, I appreciate that, Ryan. And Seshimaru Dano, thank you so much. Who's actor that's never been in Star Wars that you'd like to see in the series someday, and in what type of role? So I'm gonna go with Sam Rockwell. I'm a big fan of Sam Rockwell. I think he's a fantastic actor, comedic and serious. Sam Rockwell is one of my favorite actors out there, and I think he would be a really fun addition to a future Star Wars movie or show. I don't know in what type of role. I don't know in what type of capacity he would be in there. When I think of Sam Rockwell, though, I like some of his goofiness, his comedic roles, his over-the-top nonsensical roles. And it would be fun to have like a wacky Sam Rockwell Star Wars character in the mix, you know? Like, I thought DJ in The Last Jedi, I thought Sam Rockwell would have made a good DJ. I think he would have, you know what I mean? But yeah, Sam Rockwell all the way. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Oscar Rodriguez, it's tragic that Finn didn't get with Rey. That maybe, yeah. Oh, heartbroken Finn there. The entire time, you know, the entire movie he's looking for in The Last Jedi. Who knows what happened? Was there a love triangle in between the Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker? Guarantee there's some fan fiction out there that's that gets into that. Yeah, Finn. Sorry, man. Sometimes things just don't work out. Or maybe he did. Maybe Rey left Tatooine and that's it. That's it. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Data Leader, you have a link to the background soundtrack. Much love. Oh, no, this is all stuff that I've downloaded or gotten permission to use. If there's a lot of the stuff I'm gonna type it in the chat. A lot. I'm gonna say. Let's see. Well, maybe 10% of the stuff that you're listening to. Actually, the song that you're listening to right now comes from this. I'm typing it. So there we go. Galactic Delivery is a game, and Ulos is the creator of the soundtrack of that game. So I got permission to use his stuff, and yeah, like 10% of the stuff in this playlist is that. I don't have a link to it. It's just stuff that I've downloaded and I threw in an audio program called Fubar. I guess I could take a screenshot of it and post it up on Twitter. I could do that. It's just kind of jumbled nonsense, but and Detta, if you want to go back and watch and listen to this stream, if you see the now playing at the tip top of the screen right there, every song is going to appear there that you hear. So it has this perfect synth vibe. Yeah, man, I love it. I love it. It's my kind of working music. You know, if I'm writing a script or if I'm doing some freelance stuff, I always have this kind of music on for the most part. Especially when I'm writing a script and I need to actually think. I can't listen to a podcast. I can't listen to somebody speak and try to type a script, right? I have to listen to something like this. But anyway, I'm glad you dig it, man. And Vince Wynn, I'd be really into seeing Obi-Wan and Anakin Clone Wars era show with Hayden and Ewan. And neither have aged that much, so I don't see that as an issue. Well, you know, yeah, you say they haven't aged that much, but I think if you put them side by side, Vince, from their 2002, 1999 age years, you might see the cracks, as we all have. Yeah, that would be fun to see them back together in a new capacity. Oh, what about well, I don't know. I mean, I would love to see that. That would be really fun, just kind of, I don't like a series or whatnot, but I don't know how goofy that would feel, you know? I don't know how goofy that would feel seeing 20-year plus Hayden and Ewan playing themselves 20 years ago and looking older in between two movies. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. That's a fun idea. I could go for some books. I would read those books for sure. I still need to read Master and Apprentice. That was on my list of Star Wars books that I wanted to read. I got caught up reading other stuff, but well, yeah. Anyway. In Star Wars Cantina, thank you so much for the final super chat and channel support of the stream, man. I appreciate that. As I said, I was going to hop off. I planned on going for... dude, like, I've been going for so long lately. It's crazy. I plan on doing like 32 an hour, and here I am almost 2 hours in. I need to start bringing more water to my desk. In this time, I drank a 32-ounce Nalgene. As I often do. So, anyway, Star Wars Cantina donated because you and your fans are awesome. Well, I appreciate the hell out of that support, man. Best of luck on the channel. Everybody, you see Star Wars Cantina in the chat right there. Go check out the channel. I'm going to check it out after this stream. And congratulations on uploading your first few videos there, man. And, yeah. Best of luck. Have fun with it. That's the most important thing. Have fun with it. And enjoy yourself. So, Star Wars Cantina, thanks again, man. All right, guys, I'm going to hop off and lounge for about 30 minutes and then go night-night. So, let's see. Hoping to get a video up, probably not tomorrow, but maybe Thursday? Yeah, I'm going to say maybe Thursday. So, if I don't see you before the new year, man, Happy New Year. I might do a stream tomorrow afternoon. We'll see. But if I don't see you until the clock strikes midnight, making 2020 a reality, have fun, be safe, you know, and set some goals, man. Set some goals. And follow through with them. That goes for you too, Greedo. All right, guys. Enjoy yourselves. And enjoy your week. Happy New Year. And I will catch you all on... Let's change this song. Let's change this song. Let's play a fun song. There we go. All right. Ready? Cool, guys. All right. Have fun. I'll catch you all later. See ya. Oh, Nathan, I do. I do very much. I really have to pee.